The path to your success and world peace is what I've created. That's what my life has led me to do. And that is the philosophy that I have discovered I've created. I didn't know I had done that. None of us know who we can become when we come into the world, and we don't know the limits of what we can create or who we can become until we do something. And sometimes that will be a little different. Today I got up and I live in California, and when I got up I was kind of shocked because of the fires that we were having here that we had not experienced. Not near me. I'm great, but the areas around are really horrible, and I'm looking at that, and then I remembered Wilhelm saying to me, "Us, all of us, please stop burning down your planet." See, that came through in channeling sessions from years and years ago, and I would listen to those and I go, why is that coming through? We don't have anything to do with that. That's what we think sometimes, but we have something to do with everything. And that is the difficulty. We don't believe that we do. We don't believe that we have the power to change things in our lives or in the world. And I'm saying you do because I was given a way for you to do that. And I know that it works because what happens is you heal and you become happy, you become successful, and you love yourself. What more would you want? So I know it's challenging to believe that could have occurred because I didn't believe it myself, even though I'm the one experiencing it. I'm the one who's walking through the healing through my entire life. But accepting that was, wow, that was a challenge. And that's the same for you. Because the thing that you're meant to do is always out in front of you for all of us and for our world. But it depends on how many of us decide that we're going to become our best selves. That means owning what is within you that is still waiting to be developed. And that happens over generations, over time, and in different ways. And so why would I need to bring in a new philosophy? Why would that be needed? It changes all the time because our civilization changes. And we begin to understand that we are affected emotionally, mentally, spiritually by the changes that are happening in our universe, in the planets, in the energies. But we don't always understand that. But then I spent my life kind of figuring it out and not knowing that was happening. You may have done something like that as well because as humans, we're meant to come into the world and do something new. Each person. That's what's within you. Everyone has something. You just may not have understood yours or it hadn't been activated yet. See, what happens is when we become a little afraid sometimes, that's when we do that next thing that we're going to do in our lives that we feel we're meant to do. And surprisingly, that day was today for me. I can say that pretty much any day because I can get up and look at the messages and see that I've been given that information. That was the part that was challenging to accept. But I want you to accept it because you have intelligence that you could access as you keep developing your consciousness. The only way you experience yourself, any of us, is through your consciousness. And you just have to understand it's been formed by what you have been taught. And usually we're taught that from our parents. I'm going to tell you a couple of good stories. Today is January the 8th. Yeah, because what the message that I was told to put up last night from Wilhelm, you'll see it. Here is your path to personal success and world peace. And you must understand they are the same path because you're human. You're supposed to feel as entitled and perfect and brilliant as any other person. And you wonder why hasn't that happened? It's because you were told something else. We were all told something else. That's why yesterday I was instructed to put up something that said, you were brainwashed. We were all brainwashed. We had to be because we couldn't develop something new. But then it's when we don't let go of the old stuff and grab the new that we have difficulty. And that's what's occurring in our world now. But you won't have to do that because I'm giving you something that's going to cause you to love yourself and understand who you are and accept the importance that is within you because I know that that is within every single person. I couldn't have told you that many years ago because I wasn't willing to own it, like you weren't willing to own something about yourself. That is our process. And so this is what has happened. So just so you know, because I'm making these changes because I have to give you all of this work. I had someone One of our people who came into our program a while ago, wonderful guy, but had a lot of troubles. And so last week he killed himself. He just decided he was going to hang himself. It was too troubling for him to get through this. And I thought about that, and I go, that's partially my fault. You see, because I stopped myself. I stopped myself from putting out all the information I could have. Maybe if I would have done more. Now, I know that I'm not responsible for what anyone else will do, but you are responsible for what you will do in your life and what you bring to this world. And you know when you're holding it back because you feel terrible. You feel lost. You feel afraid. You feel all of those things. But you won't do that after today because I'm going to give you some things that are going to help you. I love giving gifts because I have moved through everything in my life and struggled so much and healed everything. That's what this work does. So I just want you to know what is possible. And I want our world to know what is possible because we could change everything. There was a post that Wilhelm gave us that utopia is attainable. And we'll hear that, but we'll think, no, it's not because we haven't done it. And you will see that will be the only difficulty in your life, and that'll be the only difficulty that we experience in our world because we think it's not possible. It is. So I'm going to give you these two things, and I'd love for you to see these. And what I'm doing the next couple of weeks, and you probably have seen all of this, we're working on really revamping. In 2021, you'll hear this in this video. I'll leave the link to it's up on my website, on my YouTube channel, the session that I just put up from November 4th of 2021. Any of the older ones you would understand. But that one was exceptional, and so I'd love for you to hear that. I put a link here, and there are other things, and I will leave the links for these sessions so you can read it all. I will leave the links in the description of the YouTube video, but you can also find it on my website, anyadvicefortoday.com. And this is the one that I put up last night, that I was instructed to put up last night. And I want you to understand there is synchronicity in your life and in our world. We will not always figure that out. We won't always look at numbers or all of that, but there is an order. And when you start to find it, you find your alignment as well. And you will begin to see all of that as you listen to read this message, and then also read the ones here. There's a thread of messages that will show you a whole bunch of other things. It's called, there was an instruction to put together just 2 words. And if you go to the website, anyadvicefortoday.com, you can do this yourself, which is really kind of amazing. But you search for something, what you're feeling, what you want to have an answer to, something emotional. You'll see that you'll find an answer there. But I wanted you to have that, so I will leave that link for you as well. And then there is something else that I'm going to give you because this will give a little more explanation, but this is going to be kind of like a little fun workbook for you. How to have everything you want. This is actually really some educational stuff that I just would love for you to have about how we evolve as humans. Everything that you do in terms of understanding yourself, your emotions, all of that, it goes through that. And then how did I create this work? How did Wilhelm give me this? Because this was something I never thought I was going to do. However, if it gives you something like this, I put out something yesterday to go, what do you do when you discover that you have discovered something that could change the world? Because I thought if more people were to do this, it would absolutely change the world. But you'll see what I mean when you read through all of it. But again, all you have to do is think about yourself right now, because that's the most important thing for you to become who you're meant to be. And that's what this work will help you. So I wanted you to understand why, because I didn't understand for the longest time. I didn't understand why I was healing, what the mind-body connection, why it was working, all of those things. And so I needed to know and understand it so I could tell you it is all here. And you'll see all the influences that came through, because you have them as well. We all do. That's how we get information and evolve. But it's just going to be different for each of us depending on our situations, where we came from, how we've lived, but also the time in our world. You must understand that we change as our planets change, as the universe changes, and sometimes it's really chaotic as it is now. Okay, and then you're going to understand your brain, cognitive behavior principles, and it's what happened in Wilhelm's work because I had to sit down and do it every single day. Um, there's no, you can achieve anything. You just have to be willing to do it. That's all. Um, okay, so all of that will be there for you. And then there's an interesting thing that came up. Um, because I was guided to do something on a particular day, and I needed to go back and find, and I love we have AI now to do this, to see why that was significant. And you will see that that energetic connection, Wilhelm has given us information on certain dates, and you'll understand that as well. But there is one other thing that I want you to have because it, again, will help you, and that's what I want. And here's the last one. Today, as I was seeing the events of the world, I looked and to see what was the message I was given on January the 9th, because it's the 8th today. And I'm telling you again, and you will probably read this in a lot of the information I've put out. There is an organization. Again, we just figured out later, even in organization, what's happening energetically within you. But so I just took all the dates from January 9th, and it was quite fascinating that I came to one that really showed me why I was doing this now. Because it reminded me of something in my life that I hadn't done many 30 years ago, more than that now, but it's the same for you. That's the only time we have regret, when we don't take that step. So I'm giving you all of these because when you go through each one, take some time and just think about it for yourself. And this is the one to begin with because we all have that feeling. You have been taught that somehow you are intrinsically bad or wrong. Somewhere in there, I don't care who you are, where you're living, that's what we're moving through. And then you'll see that every single message each year, because it's just January 9th each year, will give you a clue as to what's the next step you can take in coming to understand yourself and reaching the next level of success in your life. Success is always about accepting your authentic self, and that's always a journey. That's that self-discovery. And then you come down to um, certain messages that will kind of really shock you, but I wanted to leave them here because when Wilhelm gives me information, a lot of times they're using me as an example so that you'll understand it and you'll get that. And the one that was perfect was talking about a time where I was back in Chicago 35, no, more than that, 40 some years ago when I had a business and all of these employees before I moved to New York, and one of my employees committed suicide. And so it set something up in me that I needed to do something, but I also had to like not be responsible for what could happen, just like you. But again, when you are doing what you're meant to do, you won't be in those situations and probably won't even attract those people. But anyway, I want you to have all of this because it will help you more than you can possibly imagine, because I just read them again as I had to put them together, and we'll have a link for you. I mean, other things, I'm sure we'll put this together. But as I'm reading them again, I could feel myself remembering and changing. You will do the same thing. We're all the same. We're just humans moving through this world trying to figure out who we are and doing it in different ways. This way will help you. Now, and say, you will read all of this in the other document about why this work became so effective. Now, whatever you believe is what you believe. I happen to believe that every person born, every soul born, has worth and value, because that's what I have received in all this information and what I was meant to bring to the world, that greater understanding. That's why this philosophy was needed, because, see, we've left too many people out. Probably you. And this work will take you to who you're meant to be, and it's meant to take our world to that place as well. But I held back, and so now I'm finishing so that you can finish. Finishing means that we're going to come to love ourselves, accept ourselves, and create a much better world than what we're seeing now, because it's within your hands. Thank you so much for being here. See you soon.